when it came to topping the charts, the Beatles weren't just successful, they were untouchable. By 1964, they weren't merely making hits. They were rewriting the very DNA of popular music. And it all began with one explosive single, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Released in late 1963, the song didn't just dominate Britain, it detonated across the Atlantic, climbing to #1 in America by February 1964. That moment didn't just make them famous. It launched the British invasion and buried the old guard of rock once and for all. The track had been written with a singular mission: to crack the American market. Manager Brian Epstein made it clear. Their next release needed to be the one that conquered the States. Their earlier singles had failed to catch fire overseas, and with a US tour on the horizon, the pressure was immense. So John Lennon and Paul McCartney retreated to the basement of McCartney's girlfriend, Jane Asher's London home. There, sitting knee to knee like the hungry teenagers they once were, they chased a melody that would electrify the world. When Lennon struck upon the song's signature chord change, he reportedly felt the hairs on his arms stand on end, the unmistakable thrill of a hit being born. McCartney later recalled that sense of urgency, as if time itself were breathing down their necks. What began as a desperate writing session turned into creative lightning. Within hours, the song was finished. The next day, they recorded it in one near-perfect take. Neither of them could have known that they'd just made history. When I Want to Hold Your Hand finally topped the US charts, the Beatles were already en route to America. On February 9, 1964, they stepped onto The Ed Sullivan Show and performed for an audience of 73 million. A cultural earthquake that changed everything. The single ruled the Billboard charts for 7 weeks before being dethroned by She Loves You, proving that the only thing capable of stopping the Beatles was the Beatles themselves. But the true legacy of I Want to Hold Your Hand went far beyond numbers. The song redrew the boundaries of rock and roll. Its unusual chord structure and shimmering harmonies marked a leap into new creative territory. Artists who had once been the Beatles' idols suddenly found themselves eclipsed. Bob Dylan marveled at their harmonic daring. Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys admitted he was shaken, inspired, yes, but also unnerved by how effortlessly the Fab Four had elevated the game. I Want to Hold Your Hand wasn't just another pop single. It was the moment rock grew up. It crowned the Beatles as the undisputed kings of modern music, transforming them from chart sensations into cultural revolutionaries. From that point on, rock was no longer just about guitars and rhythm. It was about invention, emotion, and artistic ambition. 1964 didn't just belong to the Beatles. It belonged to a new world they had just created.